your license need saving? Do the wise thing. Call Wise Man Lawyers. Does your license need saving? Do the wise thing. Call Wise Man Lawyers. Don't face that court alone. Let the Wise Man team get you back on the road. Does your license need saving? Do the wise thing. Call the Wise Man team at Wise Man Lawyers.
Alright, today I'm at Moranbah Magistrates Court. It's about a 2-hour drive west of Mackay, so I flew up last night and drove to Moranbah this morning. Client was charged with their 5th drink driving offence, 2nd in 5 years. So the current charge was a reading of .099. The more recent one in the last 5 years was .072, and then there was 4 others outside of the last 5 years. So going backwards in date of from most recent going back, it was .058 2014, 2013 there was a 0.070. What else? There was a .160, which is high range, back in 2007, and a .050 in 2005. So 5th in total today, 2nd in 5 years. Penalty wise, because it's the 2nd low range in 5 years, so low range is .050 to .099. And being .099 today, it was low range. Mid-range starts at .100, so he was a fraction away from mid-range, but in any event, it was low range. And the previous, back in 2016, as I said, .072 was obviously low range as well, because it was in that bracket. So the readings outside of 5 years still impact the outcome, but the mandatory penalties are affected by previous in the last 5 years. So if you've got a previous 6 years ago, the minimum is as if it's your first offence, whereas if you've got a previous within the last 5 years, the minimum will increase. So without a previous in the last 5 years, the maximum would be a 9-month disqualification, minimum 1 month, but because there's a previous low range in the last 5 years, the maximum becomes 18 months and the minimum becomes 3 months. But when you're looking at your 5th DUI in any time frame, you're in the gun for penalties worse than disqualification and fine, meaning probation or jail. When I say jail, I don't necessarily mean that you're at risk of actually going to jail and sitting in a cell, but there's forms of imprisonment that can be handed down that allow you to remain in the community, but on your history, you've been to jail. So suspended imprisonment, immediate parole, and the likes. I won't go into detail about what that means now, but what I'm saying is my client was in the gun for a serious penalty far beyond a simple disqualification and fine. With regard to preparing for the matter, given, I mean, we put in thorough preparation for all matters, but when there's a risk of jail or a longer than usual disqualification, we drill down a bit deeper with regard to preparation of written submissions based on case law. So if, for example, if I was to arrive at court today and we've got a prosecutor who's baying for blood, or a magistrate who's doing the same thing, and I'm not implying that was the case here, I'm just speaking hypothetically. Yeah, I mean, because especially in regional locations, yes, there's regular magistrates, but if the regular magistrate's ill or on holidays, a relieving magistrate will step in, and it could be anyone. It could be someone from a magistrate from Brisbane, or it could be a relieving magistrate from any other jurisdiction. So you can't just go to a location and think, oh, I'm familiar with a particular magistrate and rest on your laurels, because A, you could get anyone, or B, the regular magistrate may have just dealt with someone who's just killed 3 people in a road accident and their senses are heightened. So anyway, what I'm getting at is you need to prepare as if you're preparing for the worst. And yeah, a lot of the time it's more of an emergency backup plan as opposed to a starting point. But I need the confidence, and so does the client, that I'm ready to box on if the walls start crumbling around us. So anyway, what I did was, as I said, prepared detailed written submissions of cases based on persons who have offended as much as today's client had, and outcomes that they received that would have been appropriate today if push came to shove. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if there's a risk of jail and you don't go to jail, it's a good outcome. I mean, obviously I was here to do far better than just simply avoid jail, but again, if it turned into a skirmish about whether or not my client should go to jail, I needed to be ready to go. So detailed written submissions. We got him to complete the reformatory course that we get all of our clients to complete. Got him to get character references based on the template we provide all of our clients. I prepared my submissions well in advance. Flew up last night, stayed at Mackay, drove to Moranbah this morning, met the client at court. We grabbed, I won't call it a conference room, there isn't one here, it's just a bit of a desk in the registry area. Got all the paperwork together. I ran through my submissions in detail with the client. Again, I don't like clients to be standing there hearing me saying things for the first time. I run through my submissions, what the prosecutor's likely to say, what the magistrate's likely to say. Obviously, I can't predict what the magistrate and prosecutor are going to say, but I've got a pretty good idea of the direction or the tone of what they're going to be saying will be. And if the client's hearing it from me before we go in, when it's unfolding in real time, you know, it's not news to them. It's familiar because they've already been, you know, guided through it by me, and it doesn't come as a shock. And if they've got anything that they want to add when I'm running through it with them, which they rarely do, given, you know, the level of thoroughness that we put into our submissions, but they've got the opportunity to add something if they want to. Anyway, I'm prattling on now. I guided the magistrate through the steps my client had taken to try and sort himself out with regard to dealing with the underlying alcohol issues, what he'd learned at the course. I spoke on my feet about him as a person, his background, the difficulties he's suffering in his relationship, difficulties he's going to suffer work-wise while he's off the road. Pretty much everyone who lives at Moranbah or flies in and out of Moranbah is going to be stuffed if they don't have a licence, given, you know, the nature of the you know, mining and all the support industries that are attached to the mining industry. If you can't drive, it's pretty hard to provide, you know, any kind of meaningful service to a employer or a client. Anyway, I spoke at length on my feet about appropriate disqualifications. I made a forcible submission that, notwithstanding his history, a disqualification and fine would be appropriate as opposed to anything more serious. I had to speak in a bit of detail on that point because, you know, obviously a starting point for someone with 5 DUIs is that, you know, you need a bit more of a smack than a loss of a licence and fine. But I went into great detail about why it'd be appropriate to give my client one last chance. Look, long and short of it is, he was given a 5-month disqualification, so well short of the maximum 18, a tad higher than the mandatory minimum 3, but again, he was almost mid-range, 0.099, mid-range kicks in at 0.1, and that is a minimum 3 months, so he was virtually mid-range, and that previous in the last 5 years and the previous in the last, you know, period outside of the last 5 years obviously aggravated. So potential 18 months. I got him 5 months with a $800 fine, and that was it. There was no, you know, suspended imprisonment or probation or whatnot. So he's obviously greatly relieved, given it was disqualification and fine only. You know, he'll just push those 5 months out and then get on with his life. I'm Andrew Wiseman at Moranbah Magistrates Court. Thanks for watching. Hi, I'm Andrew Wiseman from Wiseman Lawyers, Queensland's only truly dedicated drug, alcohol and traffic offence law firm. If you face loss of licence, loss of vehicle imprisonment or anything in between at any court in Queensland, we can and will help you today. This is our specialty. This is all we do. Give us a call, 1300 947 352. I'll look forward to helping you resolve your issue today.
Don't face that court alone. Let the wise man team get you back on the road.